Hey guys, Matt Numrich here, and before I get started here on this topic that we're going to cover today, which is mass shooting self-defense, we want to go ahead and make sure that you like this video and also subscribe to the channel. As you guys probably already know, we go ahead and we upload new content every single week, so make sure you guys check it on out. In this video right here, we want to cover this topic that unfortunately become a reality for far too many people today, and we need to make sure that we pay attention to what our options are and also the realism of it. So when we talk about mass shooting self-defenses, we're talking about being in usually a social environment, whether it be a workplace, maybe some kind of social event like a concert. What do we do in that kind of situation if we're, come face to face with a situation where we have some sort of a mass shooter? We want to go ahead and we really want to take that three-step process that is caught by a lot of government agencies and also by a lot of businesses and corporations, which is simply the run, hide, or fight defense strategy. Now, I break that down step by step because it's a choice, and believe me, just because we choose one of those doesn't mean that it might not mutate to another choice depending on how the situation aligns. What I want to do in this video here, just make it really simple and make sure that we know not just what each and every kind of choice entails, but what are also some tips and tricks that we can go ahead and keep in mind to keep ourselves safe and also keep those around us safe as well. Now, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to break down each one of these options right here. And the first option that I'm going to cover under the run option is to make sure that we know our exits even before getting into an environment or before we get settled into an environment. So by instance, if we go ahead and we get into a brand new building that we're just not used to, we want to make sure that we know where the exits are. If by chance we're in an environment that we know where the exits are, we also want to know what are the exits that are going to clog first, meaning that are there exits that everybody's going to run to? And if everybody's going to run to it, I got news for you guys, it may not be the best exit. So know which exits clog first and also maybe know what an alternate exit might be. When choosing exits, we may want to know what exits actually may sound an alarm. This becomes very, very important, where if we want to go ahead and escape out of the situation and not let the shooter know where we are. So make sure you know which exits may sound alarms. Many times when we're thinking about the exits, we just know about the pedestrian exits, or we might know about the customer exits. But believe me, there are so many more exits that we can go ahead and we can pay attention to as well. I want to go ahead and I want to talk about a personal situation where one of my sons was at high school and he was subject to a situation that he thought was a mass shooting kind of situation. And he very, very intelligently, instead of going out the exits that everybody else was heading out to, which was the cafeteria, he actually went back into the kitchen, and that's how he exited the building, was through the kitchen exits that were usually just used by workers that work at that location. The last thing we're talking about the running kind of option is that we also want to know what are some soft exits. And all that means is that are there walls, are there barriers that can be easily breached for us to get out of that situation? Meaning that are there walls that we can hop, or even are there walls that are just drywall that we can bust our way through in order to get to another room or out of a particular building? The second option that we have is to simply hide. If a mass shooting breaks out somewhere, we might have the option of just hunkering down and hiding and waiting for that person to either pass through whatever room or building that we may be in order to survive that situation. Now, when we go ahead and we hide, we want to make sure that we understand that there are usually going to be workers there. And those workers can either be an asset or a liability to us. What do I exactly mean by that? Well, if you have a worker there, they're going to know the ins and outs of the, of the property and where we can hide or where we can actually even exit as well. But on the other hand, please understand that in many situations, many mass shooting situations, they're actually carried out by workers, meaning that the workers are going to know where the good hiding spots are, where the exits are. So please pay attention that if we tend to run into a worker, if we're not one ourselves, they may know the things that may save us. So just have your awareness up on that as well. When hiding, you also want to assess how long we may be able to stay in a particular location. Sometimes if we're able to lock ourselves in a particular room, in a particular closet or whatever, that may be good. We may be able to hunker down there for quite a while until help comes. On the other hand, maybe it is a long hallway and all of a sudden we're just in a little bit of a nook. Well, maybe that's a situation that we might need to assess, that we may not be able to stay there for a very long period of time. When choosing a hiding location, also make sure that you know if there are single or multiple ways to get to that hiding spot. It can once again bring you up your awareness, not just for safety purposes, but also to escape as well at some point. If you decide to hide, I would really encourage you to find an improvised weapon of some sort. If you decide to hunker down in a particular room or a closet or some other kind of location, if you guys can go ahead and find an improvised weapon to use, whether it is a broom, a mop, whether it is even a can of soda that can be thrown at someone, whatever it is, an edged weapon of some sort, make sure that we have a weapon there that can defend ourselves if by chance we come face to face with the shooter. The last option that we have is to go ahead and fight. Now, believe me, when we talk about a mass shooting kind of chaotic situation, actually fighting may not be top of my list for this one simple point. We don't know exactly what is going on. There is a lot of chaos, but it may be your only option if all of a sudden we can't run or we can't hide. So if you're going to go ahead and fight, please understand that you must train yourself in how to deal with disarming someone, whether they're handling a knife or a gun or something like that. Once again, having the awareness of defensive tactics can really save your life in that kind of situation, so make sure you're well educated. Just like in the hiding option, we want to make sure that if we do decide to fight, go ahead and grab a weapon. If it is picking up a bar stool, it's picking up a bar stool. If it's going ahead and finding, let's say, some kind of knife that may be on a restaurant table, we can go ahead and we can have that. But if you're gonna fight with a weapon. That's what I would encourage you guys to do. Have the awareness of knowing if there are multiple attackers. If you are fighting, realize, hey, listen, do I hear multiple gunshots going off? Do some seem far away? Do some seem close? Knowing if you're gonna have to go ahead and fight your way through one person, two people, or multiple people is a huge advantage of knowing what your strategy is and also what your choices are. If your choice is to fight, please understand that once you have law enforcement on the scene, they need to identify you as a good guy. And it just simply, when I bring up this point, bring up the awareness that once you start engaging, there might be other people engaging. It might not just be law enforcement, but it could be some other helpers that are coming on. Make sure that they know who you are and what your intentions are. To kind of go ahead and put an extra tag on that last point, just understand that if we are engaging on someone and law enforcement does show up, we want to be in a non-threatening kind of position and also posture as well. You know, if we're going ahead and we're trying to take out the attacker, but we seem just as aggressive as that person, and we should be if we are attacking the attacker, please understand that if law enforcement comes on the scene, they could see us as the bad guy. So once law enforcement shows on up, once other help shows on up, we want to assume a very non-threatening, non-violent kind of a posture. There you have it. Those are the three options and a little bit more detailed information about each and every option. Make sure you guys go ahead and work these into your self-defense scenario training and also instruction. Thanks so much, guys. We'll talk to you guys soon.